So a lot of people have opinions on what watches will be future icons, and today I just wanted to go through a list of 5 watches that I think will be future icons and watches that I definitely will have in my collection or I already have in my collection. So a few of these I already own, so I do put my money where my mouth is, and I'm just going to get right into it. This is a list of 5 watches that have the potential to be future icons. I'm not saying they're currently icons, but they're on their way. And I wanted to start out with the definition of an icon. What is an icon? And the definition of an icon is a person or thing that is symbolic or is a noted figure. So, in other words, the Rolex Submariner is an icon because when you think of a classic dive watch, the Submariner is what comes to mind. It is the poster child for dive watches. It wasn't the first diver, however, it's arguably the most iconic. So that's what makes it iconic. It's the fact that people immediately think of that watch when they think of dive watches and sometimes just watches in general. So with that definition in mind, I'm going to start with a watch that is well on its way to becoming an icon, and that is the Grand Seiko Snowflake. Grand Seiko take great care with the little details on their watches, and it's the little details that set brands apart. Perhaps what Grand Seiko are best known for are their intricate dials, and arguably the best of what they do is in the Snowflake dial. It has texturing that sort of looks like a snowflake. It has a pearl almost appearance, and it really is just a gorgeous dial that you can really get lost in. And because of the dial and how desirable it is, I think this will be one day an icon of the brand Grand Seiko. So when people think of Grand Seiko, they will think of the Snowflake, and they will think that is the iconic watch of the brand. Currently, I don't believe they have many icons of their brand, and I think that Snowflake has rapidly become an icon to them. There isn't much I don't like about the next watch on my list. A watch inspired by some of the most iconic Rolex and Tudor dive watches of all time. It's the Tudor Black Bay 58. Tudor hit the nail on the head when they introduced the 39mm version of the already popular Tudor Black Bay. Downsized and thinner with an in-house Tudor movement, it's an all-around good-looking, straightforward watch. It's not going to win any design awards, however, that really isn't the point. With Rolex being priced out of the market, most of the market watch collecting community, Tudor is stepping in and filling in the void. Like it or not, the Black Bay 58 is rapidly becoming an icon for new collectors and old collectors alike. And there are definitely collectors out there who own not only the Rolex Submariner, but also own the Black Bay 58. It's becoming accepted in the watch community as one of those iconic watches, one of those iconic dive watches. And I do think that it has become obviously the poster boy for Tudor, but I think it's rapidly becoming an iconic watch in the watch community among collectors. So a lot of people who own higher end watches also own a Black Bay because they are really good watches and people really like them. The design, like I said, won't win any awards. It's not incredibly groundbreaking. However, it's really good looking, it's really straightforward, and it's a useful watch. So the next watch on my list, not many watches can claim that they were the first at something. However, in 1972, Porsche Design introduced the first black PVD-coated watch ever made. Manufactured by Ofrina, who made Porsche Design watches prior to IWC and Eterna, this simple black dial, black case, and black bracelet chronograph was powered by a reliable Valjoux 7750 and came in a very straightforward 40mm case. Already collectible, these watches started a trend that would be popular to this very day. So you see a lot of watch brands out there making their own PVD coated watches, fully PVD coated, partially PVD coated. It's hard to name a brand that doesn't offer a PVD coated watch in some way. And really they owe that sort of design to Porsche Design and Ofrina, who were the first to do it. These are awesome watches. I actually owned one and sold one. I kick myself every day for selling it. It was very early on in my collecting history, and this was a really beautiful watch. Mine was very, very beat up, and it had most of the PVD coating had come off on the bracelet and some on the case. And a lot of the examples that you find today are in that sort of condition, but they do sell at a premium now. They are very expensive, and a few times they have been re-released, and there are a few brands that actually make homages of these watches, but I definitely would like to own this again in my collection. Just a beautiful watch and really an icon in its own right, and it's an icon for the Porsche design brand. Next, I want to talk about Gerald Genta and Gerald Genta designs. Gerald Genta designs are extremely popular. The Royal Oak and the Nautilus are very desirable watches. Just take a look at the micro brand market these days. If a brand is not creating an homage to a Submariner, Seamaster, or 50 Fathoms, they have an offering of some sort of integrated bracelet design sport watch. The IWC Ingenieur was originally designed in the 1950s as an anti-magnetic watch for scientists and, of course, engineers. However, in 1976, Gerald Genta redesigned the IWC Ingenieur into an integrated bracelet to compete with the likes of AP and Patek Philippe. Bulked up over the years, it stayed essentially true to the original design that Genta created. However, somehow it doesn't get the same attention as other integrated bracelet watches he designed. A true icon in its own right, I believe certain models will be future collectibles. I actually have owned a few IWC Ingenieurs throughout my collecting history. Currently, I own a Mission Earth, which is a beautiful, very large 46 millimeter, 45 millimeter watch case. It is bulked up, as I mentioned. They went very large, trying to compete with the likes of AP, with the Royal Oak Offshore. However, they went away from this case design in the most recent models of the Ingenieur. They went back to the original case design from the 1950s, and I think that was a big mistake on IWC's behalf. I really love these Genta designs. For some reason or another, it wasn't really popular. I don't think a lot of people know that Genta actually designed these watches, and that is a shame. Last but not least, and the most affordable on this list, is the now discontinued Seiko SKX, a true workhorse tool watch. It's an ISO certified diver with a very simple and straightforward design. Again, the SKX did not win any design awards. However, its rugged good looks has won over new and old collectors alike, especially considering the price. Used by professional divers for years, it recently gained popularity with dive watch enthusiasts around the world, even those who are just using it as a desk diver. It's a solid all-around watch, which has already become an icon to most avid collectors. And as I said, most avid collectors out there have an SKX in their lineup of watches. It's just one of those things that a lot of collectors get. They put it in their watch box and they wear it once in a while. It could be your beater. However, these actually have gone up in price over the past few years because they obviously have discontinued them. They were replaced, some say they weren't replaced, by the 5KX Seiko 5, and it is not an actual dive watch. These were ISO certified, screwed in crown, screwed in case back, 200 meters of water resistance. Just an all-around really good looking watch. I have an SKX 009, the SKX 007 with a black bezel, very classic. Beautiful watches, very well made, and very moddable as well. A lot of people love them. I am one of them. I think that every collector, every dive watch collector should have an SKX in their collection because they're just cool. I picked these out because there are a lot of watches out there that are iconic in their own right. When people think about watches, it's the first thing that they think of. When you think about a chronograph, you end up thinking about a Rolex Daytona. When you think about a dive watch, you end up thinking about the Submariner. But there are a lot of other smaller iconic watches out there, and these are some of them. And I hope that some of them really do get their recognition that they deserve one day, especially brands like that IWC and that Gerald Genta design Ingenieur. I think it's a special watch, and the PVD-coated Porsche design, another very special watch. Obviously, two watches that are definitely getting their recognition, the Snowflake and the Tudor, definitely are getting their recognition. The SKX is gone, and they no longer make it, which is unfortunate, but definitely iconic watch, and it's all right. But tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.